All right. Now, talking about the site operator, and there was a few others. By the way, now that the recording had started, my brain has now quickly started to churn in and start to remember few things that I missed. Few operators that we looked at earlier when we were looking at the chart for advanced operator, there was one called related. Let me get back to the chart so we can finish that itinerary, because obviously, I mean, this could be a problem if we don't get to it. Somehow it is important for the exam, and also we'll be using some of the operators mentioned in this one. So this was the main slide that introduces the advanced operators. And
Yeah, I think last
let's
class
take a,
we ended
so
with
we,
the date range,
yes, we did the date range before and after,
right?
and I gave you video links also
Yeah,
for, so we did a proximity, we did file type. This piece over here, related source and link, these were some interesting operators I would like to touch upon. And there was this site operator, which we have to specifically run with some examples so that we cover this area. But related source and link are quick ones. By the way, not a good news. Google has depreciated one of these. Actually, let me give you short stories about each one of them. Now, starting with the link down here, this used to be very useful if you had declared the property value after the colon to be a web link with the URL and the domain attached. It would look for or find those links, like the entire link intact. It's going to look for it wherever it is. Even if it is a third party site that is pointing to that specific domain, even those started to surface and you could see it in your search results. So it was very useful just to figure out if somebody else is pointing the link onto your site, just to see how, for various reasons, for the reason of popularity, the more of the links outside of your own website are pointing at your web pages, it used to be a plus point and improves ranking. But now it is not working. And whenever we use link colon and declare anything, it is termed as, or it is considered as a word. And the link itself is also appearing as a word, as if it is the entire um, query that is treated as one long set of words or a single search phrase. So this means it's not working. It's depreciated silently without declaring it officially. So just so to let you know, but there is a work around it, and I'll show you that. Because anytime something is not working, or it is, in the process of transition, or where it is officially uh, depreciated, we tend to find something that comes as an alternative or a workaround. So I can discuss that with you. A source is used to be an operator that would find something from a source that is defined or declared. So if it is a magazine, I would say name of a magazine, or it is the text that I would declare after the colon sign using source as my operator. It would look for that information in that source. I'm going to try to do this and run it as a query. I would create one query. Not that I have a set of queries I want, because of its flakiness and somewhat and there is a substitute for the source that has come up. We are not mentioning it or emphasizing much on explaining it in detail. So, nevertheless, I will run it for you and I will create one search query using source and link, these two operators, so that you are aware of what is happening out there with these operators. So the first, let's take the source, for instance. Generally, the query would appear, and let me just magnify it slightly, zoom it in. one more. Okay, should be big enough. Now, supposing this is the query, call it query one. Source, I declare it to be, let's say, CNN. Let the source be CNN. Okay. And I want to find a word or a search term. If I say Google search, and let's suppose that this is the search query. If I have to use the source as an operator, I would declare where from. The source meaning that all my data should be retrieved from CNN website. I don't necessarily have to do .com. It is treated as a word. So the CNN, wherever mentioned or has a relationship on the same page with the word CNN, alongside or in the same content page has the wordings Google search, it is going to default or find it from for a look for that specific page. We can also write the same search query to make it work somewhat similar to this query, except that we are using CNN.com. So let's see what happens. For me, this would be something that I'm testing with you, supposing. Um, so we'll look at the outcome and see what is going on. Uh, the And then I'll tell you how the source colon is now being replaced or somewhat functioning similar to when we run this, except that it is appearing in the search snippets, where you remember at the top where the URL is set or the link is set in a snippet. Along with it, on the same line, there are three dots, and we clicked on those three dots, and there used to come a pop-up and which had more details about that page. So that's a behavior which is simulating the same behavior as the source colon. So let's copy this and run it. I'm going to run it here, see what it does. So what I did is that first of all, it is bringing everything from CNN.com, but don't think that CNN.com is a default uh, uh, domain where the words Google search are being are part of that page or as a subject of that page. The important thing is that you consider the word CNN not as a domain but as as a separate word. So not and don't think of it as if it is using site colon operator defaulting or ensuring a restrictor to make the search acknowledge that it has to come from the domain itself. Because when you look down, you can see that it is also coming from Google support, which means the Google search page is somewhat, or the Google search term is actually mentioned uh, as a source of a page which has both terms CNN and Google search on the same page. It is even coming from Quora, which means it is a relationship you created between the word CNN and Google search. And if you look at the search results, there are about 2,620,000. And if I change this a little bit and I write the source as CNN.com, there should be less number of results because now it is supposed to act uh, with finding the source to be coming from CNN.com particularly. So when I do this, what will happen? We got 4,460,000, and in this one we had 2,620,000. I don't know. But so if we can ignore the number of results, I see that the only difference it is making, So this is coming from CNN.com, and there should be the word CNN.com somewhere here. So let me take an example of this link and see if I can find anything that talks about CNN.com, or there is a word CNN.com. And keep in mind that this is flaky and this is no longer operational operator. But it does work somewhat, but it's not perfect. So what it has done is that when we wrote CNN.com, it treated it as, or it started to look for a partial match of the term, which in this case should be CNN.com, but it is using its own way of finding even the partial portion of the term, which is just CNN excluding .com. Now, what used to be the outcome initially, or what was meant to be discovered with source.com, is anything and everything that pertains to the declared value or the declared name with relationship to the term that needs to be found on those content pages. So now you could see that these three dots are doing the same job. So if I click on these three dots, it is giving you the source info, meaning that it is going to give you the whole 360 degrees of information about the source itself, which is CNN. And then it is also giving you the entire link, which is not showing up here, but this is the original link that is actually running on that page, while what the link at the top is suggesting is that it is masked, or it is masking the original link right here. So it is discovering the link, it is talking about information about the company. Where did it go? And there would be other information. Um, these search terms appear in the results, Google search source CNN.com. So it is saying that when you ran this, or if you look at this link, you could find the search terms in the CNN or CNN.com. To find an exact match for your search term, put a word or phrase inside quotes like this. So it is just hand holding, working halfway of what it is supposed to do. And it is not like it is doing exactly the same job, but that's what they did to the word source, basically made it less useful. I want to look at the peculiarities of what was brought in using the word source. Or let me just not put .com. Let's just do CNN. It's returning more or less the same results. So it is also bringing the information page that has the word CNN along with the word Google search, or wherever the CNN is a source of info, or somehow anything to do with that particular brand of source, which could be anything, if it is news, or if it is blog, or if it is anything which would tell you where it's originating from. So here, the New York Times has it, but the CNN and Reuters had something to do with it. So somehow the relationship of the word that you put after the colon sign in source, that would remain intact with the relationship to the search term that you declare on the left of it. Even if you put the search term on the right of where it's ends with CNN, would also give the same results. but you can see that it is bringing a lot of information with relationship to CNN. Okay. Um, Now, if you go to the Google search operators or you look for them, you will find that the source colon is actually not exactly doing uh, as it is supposed to, but at the same time, it is somewhat, it's flaky, but it is bringing the results. For instance, if I had written CNN.com in this query, it should have defaulted to the source that is got a link which has in it the word CNN.com, or the domain is mentioned along with the title on that URL that says Google search somewhere. So that's not how it is doing it, but at the same time, it is creating a word sense by looking at the word CNN exclusively as part of the return results. Then there used to be another operator, link. So I'm going to try to create a query with link operator and see what it does. Again, I'm just letting you know that there is um, uh, the search no longer is using the link operator. So supposing I wanted to go to AOFIRS.com, and whenever there was the link operator used, we have to put the domain in front of it. We can also do it the other way, like we can also do link and write aofirs.org. I'm sorry, just the word itself, and this is supposed to be org. Okay, we can run it both ways. So let's see what happens when we do this. Let me use it as a word first. I got 31 results, which means I want it to find links that contain the word AOFIRS anywhere on the page. So in the LinkedIn, there should be a link that has the word AOFIRS in it. That is besides the original site. So there is LinkedIn, there is Facebook, um, there is, all these websites that contain a link which has in it the word AOFIRS. So it is working similar to in URL in a way. But what is important for you to note is that it is doing it in the link. See, the link has the word AOFIRS in it. It could be, let's say, even Zoom Shaper. I don't know what's in there, but they have used the word AOFIRS in there. And when you look at it carefully, you can see it is highlighting the word links as well. So whenever you have a highlighted word that resembles or is exactly the same as the declared property or the property itself, like we have written link here, and the word is highlighting it as if it is not an operator but as a word, this is indication that that operator is no longer working, and it is treating the word link as if it is a separate word and not an operation, declared operation. So when you see this one, you know that it is links. It is treating it as a word. So it is not doing the job what it is supposed to do. In other words, it is depreciated. So in order for us to look for all those links that has AOFIRS or is coming or includes the word AOFIRS, even if it is coming from third-party platform, and we want that to be scanned totally, we may want to use another trick, which means that we can actually put something like mm, what is that? we can use href. href. Remember, href are, is the tag that is used for identifying the domain. So let me make sure that it is the right tag I'm using. So let's suppose if I go to aofirs.org website and let me do right click just to make sure. href. Okay. This is the tag. So I can actually run this with href to find aofirs.org, because now the colon sign is going to act as if it is going to make a reference or connection with href tag. And let me do the search. Still not doing it. Let me try another tag. The other tag. Yeah. Okay, so I would say that href is also not working. I would try links. So Justin, link or links or whatever was previously used for finding the information that includes the declared property value is no longer functional. We I'm trying to find a work around it, and I don't see even the tags are doing the job. So it is totally depreciated. It is no longer available to us. So the best way is to just use the only option we have, which is in URL. This is what we have to look for now. But the problem with the in URL is that it is going to default to aofirs.org. If we have to find this in the on other websites that are pointing to us, we may as well use source instead, which works somewhat, and then put our search term. Uh, this way, it is going to find the source coming from, social media and other places also. So I think instead of using link, which is now totally depreciated, you are better off using the source or perhaps in URL if you'd like, but source might do a better job. So I'm going to get back to this one and I'm going to declare this as dead, deceased. Now, coming to another operator called related. Related is useful to find competitors that sell similar products or have similar, keywords that are comparable to uh, make them appear as if they're the competitors. So let's suppose if I want to, let's take the example of CNN. The query I will write is For related, I will write this is the query where I'm saying that the related colon is going to declare something which would which would be compared for the competitors that would have something to do with the word like search engines. But the related content or anything related would be coming from the competition and not the CNN.com. Here, related means that CNN.com is not the source of where the search engine as a term will be coming from, or those pages appearing from CNN.com, but rather from the competition that competes directly with CNN.com. So if I want to run this query and I try it here, let's see what happens. Hmm, what happened? Hmm, okay, I see. Okay, see, it's frozen totally. Okay. So let's not declare any term. Let's just look related. I'm going to use, I made a mistake there in the query. I just have to use the competitor's name or the domain name next to the related with the colon sign. I rarely use it. I'll tell you the reason why, but let's just try it this way. So if I did related CNN.com, I will get the result such as this one. As you can see, it is listing all those sites that are coming from the news agency or news media like USA Today, Washington Post, C-SPAN, all of these. So the competitors would start showing up. But there is a problem here. The problem is that related only works with the sites that are famous or really very large businesses, and it does not entertain like small companies or smaller businesses. Like if I put AOFIRS.com, it's not going to work. If I put Yahoo.com, it will show up. If I use any other domain which is not as popular or the size of that business is not too large, it's just not going to show up. So, in that sense, you can say that it is fixated on big businesses only. So, when I do, so for me, it does not work at all, even though it is there and it is something that's not officially depreciated or declared as inactive by Google. Still, when I use it, this is where I find the limitation. So if I put aofirs.org, more than likely nothing will show up. Nothing will show up. If I do any other domain, like, and I don't know why it's freezing. It's taking a long time. It's doing something. So this is the problem with it. If I do yahoo.com, it should work. We've got AOL, Bing, Hotboard, web crawler, all of these are showing up. But even these results are limited. Like you normally end up getting just one page listing maybe 10, 12 competitors, nothing more than that. So because of this limitation, it's not useful for us. But still, I have to mention it. So just remember the way we have used source colon. Link does not work anymore. The workaround is to use source colon, as I had shown you before, which is using it this way. Okay. You're going to declare the source, then you're going to put the key terms on the left-hand side or right of it. And this is how it's going to work. This don't work. Related is very limited um, use. Right. Okay. Next one is the site operator. Okay. So in the site operator, let me first of all, let's just open it in the book and show you the examples. And let me do the view. Site operator with the colon sign means that you have to put the domain name. No matter what happens, if, you cannot just leave the dot or the extension, whatever comes after the dot for the domain to be recognized or considered a domain. So it has to be aofirs.org, a complete thing. You cannot just say aofirs. And then the action of the site restrictor is to ensure that whatever pages are sought or looked for in matching terms, that content page has to be coming from the aofirs.org domain name, which means it is a site itself, like a solid domain name. It's not like it's a mention of aofirs.org anywhere that will bring the site. So, for example, if I have a site um, that has, let me just say site colon. Now, in this one, if there is the operator site use, I have to write afirs.org and say internet search engines. If this is what I am looking for, and what might happen when we declare it like this, one thing is that all of the links that will show up, or let's just write some links as examples. The type of links that will show up will be HTTP, let's say aofirs.org/membership price. Let's suppose that this is the link. This is acceptable. And what will not be acceptable are the links that are coming from another website, say aiip.org. This is a site which has in it members list, mention of A of IRS. So let's suppose these are two links. Let's call it A and this is B. The link B will not be searched, or none of the pages that are connected with link B are acceptable. This will be called not acceptable link for site colon. Okay. So this is the issue that you have to. So if you put site as an operator, it is going to find pages that are defaulting to the first leg, or where there is in the URL a domain name, a default domain name, that's taking you to those pages. So that's the very strict restrictor. Whereas if you look at B, there is a mention of AOFIRS here, but it is not treating it as a word. It is not going to look for or default this as a source of information, even if it is mentioned on the page somewhere with the wording alone of AOFIRS. So this will not be acceptable, whereas this will only be acceptable if the domain is AOFIRS. So all those pages from the actual domain will show up. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Now, when will B will be functional? B will be functional if you use in URL. With in URL, you would be able to find both. You will be able to find A and B together. So let me just write it differently. Let's just write only in URL will collect pages for matching terms from both A and B links. Okay. So these are notes. I just put these notes in your Dropbox. Anyway, so you understand the difference when you use site operator. It is a very strict composition of how only those pages that has this domain will be uh, coming up. Now, in the site operator, there is so many variations of how you can use it. Let's just take a break. I totally forgot. We need 10 minutes. I'll see you in a little bit. I'll continue with the site operator.
Sounds good.
And all right, see you soon. Thanks. Hey, Dorothy, how are you doing? Good to
I'm
see
doing
you.
well, thanks.
All right. Today we started with a bit of a confusion with one operator called link. You weren't here. We were just discussing how terrible it is now that it's depreciated. It's no longer working. And we tried some workaround, even that didn't work. And then finally we found that source colon could be a good option, just to give you a filler what you missed. Anyway, I'll see you in a little bit. Justin, Dorothy, I'm back. If you're there, let's continue with few examples with site operators.
Okay.
And just give, okay, there you are. You can see my screen, you can hear me good, so we can continue. Some examples I'm going to show you with the site operator. The typical search with the site operator looks somewhat like this, where we have the search term and we are saying that for these two words to be found together, we want it to default to linkedin.com domain. So all the results should be coming from the linkedin.com. Let me try this, and then we'll try 5.2, 5.3, and 5.4. Close these ones. CIRS certification, linkedin.com. Let's run this one. So all of my results are now coming from linkedin.com. That's the main domain. Nothing other than linkedin.com will be showing with the word CIRS certification. Okay. Now, in the second instance, I have I want the word CIRS certifications to be coming in any other site except the linkedin.com. So I'm going to use a minus sign with the word with the operator site colon. just to make sure that the domain is not the linkedin.com is not the domain where these words are to be matched. I'm going to copy and paste it and see what happens. So all of my results are coming from the domains which exclude the LinkedIn domain. So it's very simple to do, right? I'm running these quite, you know, at a faster pace than usual so that we can cover more of the examples quickly. In the 5.3, you can see that we want the search to find these words in three different domains. And again, using site colon, I'm saying to find it in linkedin.com, pinterest.com, site, facebook.com. But being an absolute command, which means that it can only exist as a single command, not to confuse the search to mandatorily find it in these three, um, we will probably end up with null result, only because site colon works as a single instance, and it doesn't want to contradict itself by adding more of the restricted site colons. So if I try to run it like this, with three defaults of domains, let's see what happens. I get 0 results. Now, the only way I can make it work is if I use the OR operator with the vertical um, uh, symbol with the vertical bar. And now I'm going to see what happens. I'm getting the word certification matched in domains that are either combination of or separately selectively chosen as a choice by the search. So facebook.com is coming, Facebook, Facebook, Facebook. Maybe it's more popular. Then comes Pinterest. Then comes somewhere there should be LinkedIn also. Here is LinkedIn, LinkedIn. Nothing other than the three that I have declared, but with the exception that I do have to put the OR command. So this is the way you can query different domains. Um, at the same time, if I want the source of information to be coming from domains that have an extension such as .org, .edu, we can also run it with the site command, which makes it slightly more flexible and brings a lot more information. So keeping the same pattern, let me copy this and let's just build one right here. I say I want my source to be, say, .edu or .org or be the other one, .org, .edu, .gov. Okay. And if I want to put the search to find it in any of the domains that has a partial uh, domain name with the extension such as edu.gov, all of these, I should be able to find something which is coming from, see, anything before the dot, which is a domain name. I don't know what domain name it may be, but I am just declaring that the domain should contain .org in it and .gov in it, and the restricted site would work just the same, except now it is going to bring a lot more results for us. But from the choice of these sources, of domain names. So .org is coming, highercompliance.org, CIRS certification. This way I can find who else is using the CIRS certification as a search term, or a term that is a mention on these pages, but coming from those particular sources that are from organizations of some sort, from educational institutions. EDU will show up also somewhere. So far, org has precedence over others somewhat. Here, .gov has CRS certification, and so it continues. Yeah. Let me look at the book to see if there's anything specific. Okay. One of the things that you don't want to do, I have to mention also. See, if you're using cite twice, don't go like this. Okay, don't go like this, because it's not like Pinterest.com is compared with AOFIRS.org in the same sense, whereas AOFIRS is treated as a word which is a mention anywhere on the page and not necessarily as a domain. Okay, so in order for this to act as a choice between the two domains as a source, you have to use the cite colon. Always do that. Uh, it's not an incorrect query, except that it's going to default to Pinterest.com, whereas AOFIRS.org will be treated as a word in context of wherever it can be found on that page. Could be in the header, could be in the body of text, or anywhere else. However, the domain will default to Pinterest.com only. So it is not as correct. Okay. Similarly, sometimes student wants to go with another way of writing it, and they do it like this. Okay. Now, in this situation, when you use OR with cite operator, it is going to not only be flaky but give you incorrect results. You cannot use the OR operator with comparing, um, you know, the two different operators in the same query, which is followed by the or as a choice. So it has to be compared as apple to apple and not apple with oranges. That's what the OR is for. Something similar, something that is comparable, and in the case of operators, it has to be the same operators. You can, however, run the same thing in a better way if you choose to look for the word Pinterest in or the domain with the domain.com in URL. You can now do it this way. This is the correct way. This is correct. This is incorrect. Okay. Anything else? You can also use the cite operator to define a partial uh, domain, uh, the domain name with the partial URL, but it should be a correct URL, meaning that if it is cnn.com/business, it would know that it is taking the domain name will remain intact. That means the site will recognize it as a domain name, and then it will also recognize anything that is followed after the backslash as part of the domain that is extracted as incomplete, yet it is sequentially got the wordings and the and the subfolders identified exactly as they are found on the website. So it will work the same way as in URL. It is very finicky about singulars, plurals, or the entire name. Like the business should be with would be a singular term and not businesses. So if I do cnn.com/business, it is going to find the information on Warren Buffett with the word successor 2024 in the business section of cnn.com. So if I want to be more precise, and if I know, or I can be more getting towards the page with an added information, I can use the extended form um, of the operator. So let me try this and see if it is going to show up or not. cnn.com/business /business /business. So in the business section, you were able to find the word Warren Buffett, and everything else that if you go to the page, successor 2000, all these wordings would be found. So this is another version of how you can apply your site operator. Site operator is useful if you want something to be found necessarily within a certain social media platforms like cnn.com, facebook.com. All of these are just for practice. And one of the ways in which we can, um, where is it? Yeah. So the difference between using the site colon operator versus in URL operator, there is a difference. If you can tell me what the difference is, that would be really nice, because uh, effectively, a lot of times when you replace site operator with in URL, you end up getting somewhat same number of results. So why is that? Why would you make a choice between using site colon versus in URL colon? That would be a question in the exam. And if you can jog your memory a little and try to find the best logical answer for this, that would be really nice. Justin, what do you think? Or Dorothy, anyone? If
Uh,
not, I'll
I think in my experience, site is helpful if you want the results to be, if you want it to be from a certain place. In URL could um, be to a specific page or to a portion of the site that you want the results from.
Hmm. Correct. If I want to explain it concisely, I would say that the site operator defaults to the domain, as the domain name is declared property name after the colon sign. So effectively, all the pages will default to, or will be linked from the domain itself. But when you do in URL and you declare the value as, even if you wrote moz.com instead of, well, even if you wrote moz.com here, it will act as a word. And even part of it, like just putting the moz, would also be a word and not considered a domain. So moz will be found anywhere as a word in the entire length of a URL, which may not default to the domain itself, but may have a mention of moz in it. If you recall the way the URL is structured, at the very end of it, supposing there is a title that includes the word moz in it, it would fetch that page. If the MOZ is anywhere in the stem of that URL, it will be treated as a word and matched as is, uh, without regards to whether or not it is coming from the original domain or not. So that's why the in URL is slightly different, and more than likely in URL will bring you a lot more results than when you compare it with the site colon operation, because it in URL will also include the moz.com domains, and wherever the moz is mentioned in the URLs, even those will be fetched. So the pool of results will be higher. Um, that includes both versions coming as the domain or the origin from the domain itself, plus all other URLs that has a mention of emoji, even if it is in the title of those links or URLs. So that's the difference. And pretty much that we finish up with the site colon operator. Now, let's just quickly look at the examples of queries that I told you about previously. We have this whole bunch of these queries, and here we have used uh, okay, the ones that I would find a little bit complex, I'm going to try to do those. Like this one in 8, you could see in URL, I need the information or the word contact. So what am I doing here? I'm asking the search to go to a page uh, where the word contact is mentioned. More than likely, the word contact might be a directory or a subdirectory from the main navigation. Remember how we have in the header the word contact as a main navigation? So that could be the one reason we are saying that to find a link that would have the word contact in it, assuming that it is going to go to a page which is coming from a URL directing it directly to that contact related page. And then we are saying go to the site where you would find the contact information from educational institutions, from organizations, and uh, with what is ending with .org, where we are starting another leg of queries, which is to do with two words as a choice, like executives and executives, a singular or plural, Orlando, Florida, email address, phone, contact, and where we don't want the words like jobs, or we don't want the words like hiring. So that's what we are trying to do. But I can always improve on this search, where I would want the word executive to be put within quotation marks. And I would also put manager here. And then Orlando is where I want the search to go to. So it should be in Orlando. Well, let's keep it loose a little bit and let's give it a shot and see what it's going to do. I would copy this and run it here to see the outcome. See, this is what it is. I don't want jobs. I don't want the word hiring in it. I would say that Orlando or Florida or email address is good enough. Executive is something that separates. Actually, I don't need to put the quotation mark here. I'm sorry. Let's leave this intact, because site which ends with .org is already uh, separated. It's not going to connect with the word executive because it is a declared domain name, and therefore it would not attach with the word executive. So there's no need to put this word in quotes. Um, and I'm leaving it open. So let's execute this. So I'm on a contact us page .edu. Mm, I have used the word phone. So I'm getting the phone numbers. I've used the word contact, and I have used, so contact as a word can come anywhere on the page, even in the body of text, but the main navigation or the URL should contain the word contact, as if we are asking it to look for the pages under the contact as the main navigation. So in the URL, you could see there is a word contact. If I click on this, it will take me to a contact page. Let me open it up. asemflorida.org, and this is the contact page. Okay, here is the page. So this is where it took me directly, and it started to look for information on this page that includes phone number, right? It's in Florida, it's in Orlando. So perfect query for doing searches for jobs coming from educational institutions or any organization. But that has to do with the word executive or manager. Let me see if I can get, see, executive director, this word executive is there. Let's take an example of number 10. In fact, let me do 11 instead, okay? Which is similar to 10, except that we have used, no, actually, it's more or less the same. Anyway, the important thing in this one is the use of the notation like at sign. Add sign is not recognized as the word or something that you could say is considered to be a stop word or a stop notation. Unless you put it within quotes, it is not recognized. So I'm using a at with the quotation in close. That means it is forced to be recognized. I've used in text, meaning that I need the pages that contain the word insurance claim, in-text contact us, not put within quotes, because some pages only have the word contact in it. In text on that page, see, whenever I'm using in text, I'm looking at the body of text or the body of content, which covers a large area or a larger number of mm, information in the sub layers of those page, or the entire page that is being searched. So in text is what I've used consistently. In text claim adjuster or in text loss control, in text. So this is a straightforward in text query. Okay, but I want to make it even more anyway. So the reason why I've used at is because it is part of the email. If the word email is there and at is not there, it means that perhaps it does not have the email address here. Um, let's just run it just to see the outcome. Hmm. Insurance claim, loss control. See, whenever you're using in-text, most of those wordings that you've put in there would start to show up as highlighted text or as emphasized text in the description area. Okay, so the description would certainly have it. The first instance is to find it together with the title, and then later to also have it in the rest of the body of text. But more emphasis is on finding it in the body of text, and therefore it should appear down here in the description area. That's because that's what in text is supposed to do. So this is one way of writing, and we have the add sign somewhere. Let me check that. At. It should have the add sign. Okay, if it is not found here, And you remember that it uses, it works on the HTML to find this notation somewhere there. If you don't see it as a user, you can always see where it's hiding something or hiding an email address or wherever the add sign is used. Perhaps I can look for it in the view page source. So let me try to find it. Uh, This source is concealed. It's hidden. Hmm, interesting. The heck. See, add Western FGS. So it is actually concealed from the user. This is an extension of an email address. So if you want to find somebody's email address, you would do at westernfgis.com, or it will be part of the part of the email address that you can find. And then there are other add signs they have used. Unfortunately, it is not something that is appearing as an email address. So let me look for another page, mm, and look for this page and see if I can find the add sign. Here is the add sign. So the likelihood of finding an add sign could mean two things. It could be a handle of Instagram or somewhere identified with the email address with the @ sign. You're just trying to do or find your best way of looking for the email addresses. So @ sign can be one of them. Here it is Everest autoclaim at everestglobal.com. So you are able to find some of these by using @ sign, which will come in handy. But at times, if you don't find it as a user, someone looking at the page itself, it may be residing in the HTML text. So no guarantees, no assurances, but we only try our best to, you know, make our uh, bring our query to a point where it would find at least something to that effect. Then we go for another um, search. This is an interesting one because I'm trying to find those that has certain notations that we weren't able to, completely do them, but we are now attempting to get them done by through these examples. So in this one, in number 13, you can see we have used the numerics like 36,000, and we have put two dots in between, and we have written 45,000. So what two dots signifies is that you're trying to find a range of salary that could be anywhere between $36,000 to $45,000. In the site, you are specific, you are saying that make it come from linkedin.com. In URL, you need to have the word jobs, assuming that if it is defaulting to linkedin.com, it should have the word jobs as a plural and not as singular. If in URL you're going to write it anything different than what actually exists in the link, in the links that run within linkedin.com, it would not work. The entire search will fail. So for now, I'm assuming that jobs is what is used as a plural, and I'm going to attempt to find the words on those pages that includes remote, freelance, and in text, I want copy editor or proofreader copy. So all of these, and in text, I am also putting Florida as the preferred state, assuming that it should be a word found on the same pages along with the word copy editor, proofreader, or copywriter. Salary range or the word salary is not mandatory, but the 36,000 to 45,000 is the range I am trying to attempt to find. This is a very tight query if the salary is not mentioned or anything that contradicts or is not workable on those pages, nothing will be found. So let's give it our best shot. And by the way, these figures or salaries or these might have changed since we ran this query. I'm not guaranteeing the results, but uh, let's uh, let's try and see what happens. LinkedIn jobs was correct. If I had put job, it would not work. So jobs is correct. Remote copy editor is there. And see what else is matching our query conditions. This has expired, so it may have been replaced. You know, what might happen at times is that because these pages are dynamically generated or the content keeps changing. Oh, I have to log in. Mm. So at the time when the information, because it's in the public domain, the moment it is captured and it is archived or it is, put in its repository, um, and when the robots go back and go to the same link and fetch another set of information, it changes. So the cached pages, which is a temporary repository, uh, may may have changed information, or the content would have been changed when you actually click on the link. So keep that in mind. I just have to find what is the go to the puzzle. I don't want to have to do that. I have to log into the account to go, but let's just look at this. So we've got the word salary. So if the salary range is, it's not letting me get in. Continued association. Sign in credentials. Let me try this. So to search in sites like LinkedIn, you have to be logged in. The salary information has changed. Let's try to make another query using this as an example. In this one, if you're looking for a rent that is between $1,500 to $2,900, house square feet 3,800, 6,000. Let's try this one to find something in the range. Just so you know, the range operator was not working for some time, and perhaps by now they should have fixed it. But let me try it. So here is the, see, 2,250 rent. Let me open. This is also a dynamic page. The only problem with range is and with numbers is that it keeps changing unless it is a static page. Now this page is dead. I'll try another one. So here you will have the ranges, which means that there would be other numbers also along with the range um, difference or the range that you have that you're looking for. So you would be able to find the pricing and the square footage. This is 2510 square foot. What was the, we wanted 3800 to 6000 square foot. So there would be 3800 square foot to 6000 square foot somewhere. This is 2400. 2023. It will be somewhere here. And you can see that this listing is dynamic. 3300, 53. Let's try the number 3800, 3500, 3600. It's a long list. It could be somewhere. And these are, see, dynamic pages, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can keep keep moving, and you will find the range or some of these numbers that fall in between, because this is a large range between 3800 square feet to 6000. Okay. So you can run it like this, and the rent also 1500 to 2900. That would be also something that you will find when you keep on moving this. And whatever you're going to find on the first page is what is being shown to you. That's about the only information you can actually compare with, unless you move to the second page, which will have its own set of information. And because it is dynamic, as you can see, you will find it somewhere, but you'll have to keep flipping, you have to keep going. Um, and we don't have time to do that, unfortunately. But these are the queries, and I'm going to put these queries in your bucket of um, important search queries that you can practice with. And let's just copy and paste it on the classwork. Yeah. This is another one which is important if you're doing your searches using abbreviations. Um, if you remember, we did some of this. There is a much larger list of the name of the countries, the abbreviation for name of the countries, and the language that you want it to default to. Um, as it is shown, it's Czech, and it's Czech is CS for the country, and after the dash, there is an CZ for the language. So if you can just remember this, you will get more results coming from um, site. For example, this one. Take this one as an example. If I want to run this query, I'm asking the search to find. In Facebook, remember there are these hashtags used to identify with the short form. You know what tags are? Tags are two different kinds of tags that the hashtag is capable of querying. Whenever you use hashtag with the wording, it acts one as a tag that is identified in the shortest terminology, identified with the section or the topic itself, so that everything that has to fall under the technology would have connection with these tags, or any information including your posts, including your feeds that you put in there, for which you organize that under, let's say, a hashtag named technology. That's where it is going to take you. So those are one thing. Then the hashtag is also used for specific handles that you can create as your own identifiable pseudonym that you can use, or anything that belongs to you exclusively with that name or that pseudonym, which would have everything to do with whatever you put in that a particular account of yours. So that is the second type of tags. But when you are doing social media searches, you can use hashtag generally as a symbol, which would bring both the type of informations from, let's say, in this example, it is coming from Facebook, and Facebook is where you would find the technology with the hashtag that exclusively puts everything that has connection with technology to identify with, or to bring information from those sections under the tag of technology that contains wordings such as virtual assistants, or anything that is coming from the hashtag jobs. So this is a quick way of finding, let's say, a position of a virtual assistant from these tags. And when we say de-de.facebook.com, it means that we already know the structure of how the link or the URLs of Facebook's are defaulting to a particular language. Um, LinkedIn has its own way of how it organizes the link to belong to a certain source of the country and the language. That would be slightly different. So if it is LinkedIn, I would have to change this, understand with the full understanding that the part of the link when compared to the Facebook structure would be slightly different. I would write it, and I'm giving you just a comparison to understand that you should have a basic knowledge, or at least look at the URLs from that country to see how it is structured. So if it is LinkedIn, let's do what we have right now. Let's do this one from Facebook. Let's suppose this is Facebook. If it is LinkedIn, I would probably write it like this: site on linkedin.co.uk. Okay. So I know that that's how it is structured, or how the URL defaults to the UK um, uh, LinkedIn. Okay. So between, say, A and B, you can see that with the known knowledge of how the URL might have these wordings to give it a source coming from, say, Facebook in Dutch. This is Deutsche or German, I think. And this is from UK. I would be able to find listing of virtual assistant positions. So if I do DED, I first have to probably have to log into my Facebook account. which I don't have it on this one, but anyway, virtual assistant outsourced. Let me do TR. Hmm. LinkedIn.co.uk. Maybe I'm writing it wrong. I can also do it this way. I changed it a little bit. I did linkedin.com in URL. I want the word UK. So I'm able to get it. Oh, that's why I was writing it incorrect. It's not co.uk, it's uk.linkedin. So I may be putting it incorrectly. This would work also. Everything from UK. Now, Facebook, I'm thinking maybe they changed the link. Let me see how the links are for, let's say, in Turkey. So if I say Facebook, because I'm in Turkey, I'd probably default to Facebook. Oh, I'm using that's why I'm using the VPN. Come on. I don't want this. Just Facebook. Is Facebook having a problem? What's happening? tr-tr, facebook.com. Okay. So this is the correct one. Let me try to use it this way. Hmm. Um, can you run it, Justin, if I give you this in your browser? It seems that I'm having a bit of an issue, which is not um, something that I expect. So I'm going to let you try this query quickly. If you can copy and paste it in your browser, please.
Yep.
Another one that you can try is tr-tr facebook.com.
Let's see if I can.
I'll try India. IN.
I'm just getting no result found.
So I don't know, something's wrong with my browser. I think I was using VPN for too long and something happened and they are giving me problems. Remember how it keeps asking me to check on if I'm human or not and stuff like that. Anyway, I tried Hindi and India.facebook.com. I tried running it exactly as I intended, and it did give me the results coming from Indian version of Facebook. And I'm in groups and I am able to find virtual assistant. And if I open this, let's see what it's going to do. It is going to find me the job opportunities, but it's asking me to log in Indian. So basically, I'm able to get to the Indian version of Facebook, and I'm getting my source from the hashtags that are used. By the way, Indians are really good at using or optimizing their web pages. So more than likely, anytime I go there, I'm never disappointed. On this page, as you could see, that everything is coming from a feed that has to do with the job opportunities as a symbol or as a hashtag and the technology side of it. That's all we need to know, and we know that it's working. And for some strange reason, it didn't work for me, but it does work, and therefore we are able to finish this as one of the examples. Um, if you do a lot of searches for, let's say, well, there are a lot of examples from hiring people or relating to jobs, but I'm going to see if I can find something that uses um, things like mm, where was it, around operator, for instance. Yeah. So let's take an example of in URL dot. I can write dot edu or I can just put edu, it doesn't matter, but dot works much better. Okay, whenever you're using it with the site colon or with the in URL. With in URL dot edu is fine, but when you're using it with the site colon, it's a good idea to always use the dot. With the examples I've given you, I've always used dots because dots makes it emphasizes that it is an extension that is not part of the word, but an extension of the domain itself. So .edu sort of identifies with that and emphasizes that this is the domain exclusively and not just the word alone. That's why. But if you're using it with in URL compared to site colon, you can just put without dots edu. Okay, so anything that has the word edu in it with in URL is fine. Here I want in text to have the word citations as something that would be related to or relational to the word mitra and the word Crosswell and 2017. Now, what it's trying to do is to create or find a relationship between Mitra and Craswell being two different names, except that these two are the authors in a research paper somewhere. I don't quite remember the first and the last name of Mitra, and same thing for Craswell, but I know these exist together or exist close to each other as two names mentioned with first and the last. So what I did is I just used assume that there should be three words approximately missing. So I used around here, and then along with around I used in URL. Okay. Okay. Um, Even though you cannot use multiple instances of around, even with the or operator, yet you can use other operators, advanced operators such as in URL and in text. So this is that example which should work to find the first and the last names and obviously the research paper itself. And it is coming or it is cited somewhere on the website of an educational institution or site or a university website. In text, the word citations is important because that's the paper where the citation word is clearly mentioned. So if I take that and put it here as a search, let's see what it is going to do. Um, Institute of Technology.edu, and the mention, and here it is in the second one, Mitra and Craswell, and there is just one word and which is less than three words. Similarly in this one also you will find the same. Let me open any of these just to see if around did the job or not. So Mitra, control F, so research paper, it went straight to the research paper, and I write Mitra. Here is Mitra. His name is Bhaskar Mitra, and here is Craswell. This is the one. Bhaskar Mitra, Classwell. Here is Classwell. Three or less words. See, one, two, three, and here is Classwell. Mitra and Classwell, not more than three words. So these are three words. Eric, Nelisnik, Nick, Classwell has, and Mitra has three words in the middle. It's very tiny. I didn't magnify it, but you can see that here. Mitra and Craswell, and one, two, three words in between. Okay. Uh, Pretty much. Okay, so 32835, 32839, these are the zip code, and another one on range. Let's see if this one would work. Like I told you, range, because usually the range, depending on what you're looking for, it changes, especially if the price or the square footage or the housing, the example we saw previously. But more than likely, the zip codes won't change. So it's 32835 to 32839. Let me try this one. I'm trying to find laptops or laptop um, where in the URL or the section where the laptops can be found. And on the page should be Toshiba or it should be HP, Lenovo, but not coming from hp.com or amazon.com or staples.com. But I want it to be found in Orlando with zip code ranges 32835 to 32839. I don't want repair as a word or rental as a word to be on those pages. So it's a very long query, and it has the range of sorts that I think might work. So I'll try this query as well. Um, you can read through it. And if I want to run this, see again, I'm not a robot. Why is it keeps doing it to me? Anyway, okay. Um, I turned off the VPN, so it is bringing results from Turkey. I've turned it on again. It should bring it from USA. No. So, can I give you this once again? Somehow my queries are not working quite well for some strange reason. So, Justin, can I let you run this query? I'm putting it, copying and pasting it in your chat box, just
Okay.
so that I get a result. Uh, where is my there? Please run this as well for me.
I can't copy and paste from there
Can't, eh? Why is that?
because I think you have to enable the chat. It's saying I can't
Really?
reply. Um, but hold on. I'll just see if I can type it out.
No, no, that's a long type. And you want to do it that way? I'm surprised. Maybe yes, you're right. Might be settings, but let me look at the security here. Disable annotations for the hide name. No, 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 no. Clip security. Hmm. I don't see any problems though from invite. Okay, let me do one more thing. Okay, just hang in there, and I might learn something from this. Now, now try it.
Yeah, I can reply.
You can't copy it, eh?
No, weird.
See, if you see how I'm able to copy this is you see these three dots. You're looking at my screen now, eh,
Yeah.
Justin?
Yep.
So you see these three dots. Do you have the same thing on your side? If you
No.
click on this, no. Hmm. Anyway,
Yeah. So,
let's not worry about it. I'm just giving you these query lists. These are pretty much, covers everything we've learned so far. And there are different variations of it. You can you can play with it a little, test it out. I'm having a bit of an issue with my browser, and I don't have any idea why it's doing it. And it's all the time checking, and if I'm a robot, because I may be using a lot of operators here, but it's very strange for me. Anyway, I'm going to try it one more time. Copy, paste, try it. Okay. See, I'm getting very limited results. Okay. So one more thing I can do. Okay. Let's just say that I would allow the results to come from Amazon.com. Now let's see what happens. It's not working well for some reason. I mean, I can't even get to Amazon.com, as if
So
it is preventing me or something is holding it. So let's suppose I get rid of the minuses totally here. And let's suppose what is the shops there, like Best Buy, let's say. Best Buy is in USA. So I will just want it to look for it in bestbuy.com in Orlando within these zip codes, repairs and rental. Let me try now. No, it's not letting me go to bestbuy.com. It's stopping me like totally. Um, I don't know why. Anyway, can I just give you a list of these? There's everything that I have. I would have loved to do all of them, but we don't have a lot of time. However, these are my favorite search queries. I would want you to just go through them and find out if you have any problems getting the results. Because, in my opinion, you will get better results than I'm getting right now. So, 092023.
I did
This
run it.
is
I did run it. But I think after the fifth fifth result, the first five were for Toshiba laptops, and then the rest it just talks about laptop comparisons. So it doesn't seem as if it's pulling in
let me see.
HP, Lenovo.
So you did this one, eh?
Yeah,
Okay. Uh, it did not look for the range in Orlando, or it didn't show you the location of these Toshiba or HP laptops in local shops anywhere. Does
no,
it give you the local results or no?
yeah,
Laptops.
no. I mean, it's basically just going to. I mean, the first result is from Newegg.com, um, and then the next one is Best Buy,
Okay, in the
BestReviews.com. So
Okay, so you're getting at least better results than I'm getting. So
yeah,
with the Best Buy, can you look at the zip code somewhere in the search results to see if they are 32835 onwards up until 32839, where the Best Buy shop location might be showing. If you click on Best Buy,
yeah, it just takes me to the website. It doesn't. It has nothing to do with location.
okay. So let's suppose I don't see any problems with in URL in laptops. Laptops. Let's suppose we get rid of in URL just for the time being, or just do some troubleshooting. We can just spend 2, 3 minutes. Let's get rid of in URL colon laptops and laptop as singular plurals and run it from there on.
Yeah, if I remove both in URL, just get some weird results. Uh,
Uh, Indexed, Toshiba or HP or Lenovo.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just uh,
Okay, revert back to what was there within URL, and then where you have written hp.com, just type site colon, and again site colon here, and site colon. This is the last thing we would like to do, and we just get rid of repair and rent. Now try running it.
oh, that's weird. Yeah, I did not get that result.
So I'm getting these results that you're looking at right now, with putting the site colon with a minus sign, so that it's not coming from Amazon, not coming from HP. It's coming from Orlando. The word Orlando is mentioned, but zip codes, the first one, when I click on it, let's look at the zip code. This is the last one we can do. And then we leave it as, something we have no control over. Uh, it's supposed to work in a certain way, and if it's not doing it, it's not much we can unfortunately do. Supposedly, it's the correct way to do it, but Control F, let's put Orlando, mm, and should be a zip code somewhere. No, 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 no. So let's just assume, in my best opinion, uh, I would say that the two dots is what is really causing the problem. That's my 2 cents worth of you know um, opinion. If you do get rid of the two dots which have been flaky and which has been causing problems, it should work totally fine. You can try it later. Let's call it a day, Justin.
Okay.
Let's leave it at this. I'll leave all those queries in the Dropbox. And then we have a class tomorrow also. I think we'll have to conclude our search queries for whatever we could complete. We've done, finished this part. The next is, you know, what we call the traditional research methods. That's where we are going to start and finish up in the next 2 or 3 classes. In conclusion, we will be done with module 2 of CIRS. Module 3 and module 4, which is business of research and research in business, that would be 2 sessions. Same 2 sessions for the internet law and ethics. So I'll see you tomorrow. All the best.
Yep.
Have a nice evening.
You
See
too.
you. Bye
Take care.
bye.
Have a good night.
Take
Bye.
care now. Bye bye.